Be back with you as we get ready for another weekend of college football. I am the somewhat capable host, TJ Rives. We are bowing once again to the greatness that is Gary Seegers of the Winning Cures Everything platforms and YouTube page, winningcureseverything.com. It was a good week a week ago. 3-1-1. You and I combined to go. Excellent handicapping on the show. We've entered a new month, Gary. We're excited about everything that's going to unfold. Good to be back with you. I'm a little frazzled all over the place, been doing a lot of work. And oh, by the way, I'm sitting live on the show here on Thursday afternoon in Atlanta, where that NFL pigskin gets played tonight between the Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm part of the Buccaneer broadcast. Keep me on track today. Like, you don't have to keep me on track every week, but keep me on track today, please, if you can on Three Dog Thursday. Good to be with you.
Oh, good to be with you as well. A little all over the place, but hey, I feel like that's me every single week. I get where you're coming from. I get, especially these travel days, right? Where you're in another city, you're trying to figure everything out, you're getting your times right. And then you got to pick dogs as well. So, you're handicapping at the same time. And
Gary and I have been going over underdogs, and I've been going, no. I've been like my twins that are going to try to pick out outfits at the store. No. Are you going to buy something? But yes, we did each come up with 3, although I think we're going to share again like we shared on Alabama last week. And I also had Illinois. You had a push with Arkansas, and you had a third underdog that won for us, Sam Houston State. Nice call on them last week as well. So again, thank you for finding us on the show. Make sure that you are here on Thursdays live on Gary's platform. If you're only hearing us on the Three Dog Thursday podcast, come see the show on his Winning Cures Everything YouTube platform. We love it. We talk underdogs. We can't wait. Here we go with the 6th weekend of college football, and you're going to actually get us underway with underdog number 1 on the show. And again, if the line goes up or down after Thursday, we only care about Thursday and the number. If a team is suddenly not favored Friday or Saturday, doesn't matter. It matters only on what happens here on Three Dog Thursday. Gary, where do you want to begin for this weekend in college football?
Let's start off in the ACC. Boston College plus 1.5 at Virginia. I've got BC as a favorite here, and what I had been waiting on was news that Thomas Castellanos, however you say it, was going to be back as the starter this week. That BC offense was dreadful last week with whatever the other kid's name is.
Right.
It was not good without Castellanos. Now he's back. He's been at practice all week, it appears. He was a full go on Tuesday, full go on Wednesday, and of course today they announced that he is the starter come Saturday. The line has not shifted too much. It moved from 2 to a 1.5, 1 at some places. There's still some 1.5s out there. That's what we're going to take on the show. But Boston College, 4-1 straight up so far this year. Not a huge fan of Anthony Calandri on what he's doing with that Virginia offense. They're an average-ish team, but still not great. And I think that Boston College has shown exactly what they are capable of doing. I think that Boston College is better here, and I've actually got them favored in the game. So I will take Boston College first as a 1.5-point dog here.
And I got burned earlier this year by Tony Elliott's team. I took them against Maryland at home. Of course, BC had the emotional win on the red bandana night for Wells Crowther, the young man that died in the World Trade Center towers on 9/11/2001. They honor him every year. They do a red bandana game because he was a BC athlete, a lacrosse player. And it's almost like the other team psychologically and emotionally has no shot in that game. And that was Michigan State a couple of weeks ago. So maybe a little natural letdown, too, for Boston College after that. So interesting that you will go underdog number 1 with the BC Eagles. The ACC is going to get a little more talk on this show a little bit later on in the program. So that is underdog number 1 here on the show. Again, we are hanging out live, doing this on the Winning Cures platforms, also in podcast form as well. Thank you. We appreciate the many hundreds and even up over 1,000 of you that partook. Spread the word. Share us out on social media. If you like what we're doing in the handicapping, of course, as I often joke, Gary, it's worth every penny they pay for it here on the program. I love what you do on the BetUS show, by the way, with Parker and Kyle. I watch you guys religiously on BetUS's platforms and get some intel. And you guys were giving me some info on Ohio State and Iowa. I believe in the Hawkeyes here in this spot. We often talk about the spot. This is the CBS Big Ten game in Columbus. Iowa had the nail-biter game that they lost at home with Iowa State, but we know Kirk Ferentz's team can always play defense. What is this line up to on Thursday afternoon for this Big Ten matchup that's coming up in Columbus? What are we up to?
You can get anywhere between 19, 19 and a half, and 20.
Wow. If I can get 20 points for Kirk Ferentz's D to start the game up 20 to 9, I'm going to go ahead and take that, I think, for Three Dog Thursday purposes here. I know Iowa right now 3-1. No, they haven't played anybody as good as Ohio State. Iowa State is good. They did handle Minnesota, and they do come off a bye week with an extra week to prepare. I have a couple of things in my favor, Gary Seegers. And then I have your number about Ferentz recently as a double-digit underdog, and I'm going to hide my eyes on the program, not just hide my ears, but maybe hide my eyes on this. What's the number as a double-digit doggy recently?
They have not covered in 6 straight as a double-digit dog. So when they go up against this better competition, they typically do not fare well.
Still, though, there was an impressive win at Minnesota. For what it's worth, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Minnesota hung right in there with Michigan last week. Came a lot closer to beating Michigan or tying Michigan than they did against Iowa. Iowa also has wins over Illinois State and Troy. Okay. Is it a look ahead? You guys were talking about this, you, Parker, and Kyle on the BetUS show. Is it a look ahead for Ohio State with Oregon next week? Maybe for the Buckeyes in this situation at home. I'm just feeling Iowa as underdog number 2, getting 20 points here. Remember, I went with a large road Big Ten dog last week with Illinois. It came through. The Illini came through at Penn State, getting like 18 and a half in that one. I'll take 20. And the Iowa Hawkeyes here just to hang around. National game on CBS for underdog number 2. By the way, you see this on the screen. If you're only hearing us, let me reiterate that whether you're trying to go to the Big House in Michigan, the Horseshoe in Columbus, any of these different matchups that we're talking about on this Saturday, Tennessee, Arkansas is going to be a tough ticket. Obviously, most of these SEC games now are tough tickets. It's going to be fascinating at Berkeley. Will there be a full house for Cal and Miami? They usually don't sell out for anybody. Even for Stanford or USC back in the day, they would have trouble selling out at Berkeley. College game day is going to be there. If you need tickets, use our friends at TicketSmarter, ticketsmarter.com, TicketSmarter mobile app. And with the promo codes, try to get into this, save $10 off an order of $100 or more, and then $20 off an order of $300 or more. Gary, you're not going to get 2 good seats for Ohio State and Iowa for under $300 in the lower level. It's not happening. Agreed. Same thing, Arkansas, Tennessee. You're not going to get the better seats, a pair of them, for under $300. Use the promo code WCE20. If you're with us on the video, you see it on the screen. TicketSmarter's got great algorithms, best competitive pricing on the secondary market. Your purchase is safe and secure. Use the codes as many times as you want for college football, the baseball playoffs, the NFL, concerts, you name it. TicketSmarter mobile app, WCE20 for any order $300 or more with TicketSmarter. Get in the game. Think smarter, TicketSmarter. Where are we going next on Three Dog Thursday, on this first Thursday of October? What do you like?
I am going to Kyle Field in College Station, Texas. And yes, I believe in Missouri. And I will give you the reason why. And I know they have not played up to what they are capable of playing. But if you look at what Kirby did, the offensive coordinator, what he did last year, it's almost a carbon copy of what he has done this year. They haven't had to show anything against anybody for the first 5 games of this year. Now, granted, Vanderbilt played them a little tighter than maybe they thought they would. Boston College, that game ended up close, but, I mean, it was a double-digit game late into the fourth quarter before BC scored that last touchdown. I think that Missouri has not shown the full gamut that they are capable of, and I think they're going to show it this week. I don't believe – first off, if it's Connor Wigman that's going to be starting a quarterback for Texas A&M, I think the line may flip. I think that Missouri may be favored by the time we get to Saturday.
Interesting.
It's 2.5 right now because I think that more people believe in Marcel Reed being able to run Colin Klein's offense for Texas A&M as opposed to Connor Wigman, who just has not looked the part. Doesn't look like he came back from that injury really well. So this Texas Texas A&M defense is really good, but I think that Brady Cook can get the ball out quickly. They haven't. I'll tell you this: Luther Burden is not the most targeted wide receiver on that team right now, and that is just mind blowing. Theo Weiss is, and he's awesome too, but not to the same level as Burden. They haven't really unleashed him yet. I think they're going to do that this weekend. This is a massive, massive spot for Missouri. They need this game. Now A&M, you could say that they need it as well, but A&M has not covered in 3 straight seasons the week after the Arkansas game. That is always an emotional roller coaster.
Interesting.
It is always a really physical game. I think that Missouri is going to win this game outright on Saturday. So give me the Tigers there.
You know, we talked about Boston College a few minutes ago as an underdog here at the beginning of the show, and Mizzou has a win at home over BC. Now, they scratched and clawed to beat Vanderbilt only by 3 last week. What are we getting with Texas A&M? It's been a little Jekyll and Hyde. Again, they were very good when they bashed Florida, but they've also, I mean, that game could have gone either way with Arkansas last week. Give them credit for winning it. You're going right back at A&M. You went at them with Arkansas last week, and I admire that, and I'm going to join in.
2 weeks ago with Bowling Green as well.
You did, and you covered, as a matter of fact. Can I join you? I'm joining in the fun with Mizzou in an early game at A&M. This is an 11 a.m. local time start for both of these programs out of the Central Time Zone, SEC game. Let's go Missouri Tigers here to get to 5-0, a bit of a surprise in a conference where everybody's talking about, rightfully so, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, all up at the top of it. Kentucky with their upset last week over Ole Miss. Missouri a little under the radar, trying to get a road win at Kyle Field. How loud will it be? Will the Cadets be that early in the morning? Let's find out on Saturday. So you and I agree, and right now the number is what, 2.5. If it changes, if it goes down, if it becomes a Mizzou favorite, doesn't matter for Three Dog Thursday, right? What are we getting, 2.5 with Missouri?
2.5. That's the best number we can get right now.
All right, so we'll take that for Three Dog Thursday purposes as well. So underdog number 2 for each of us is the same team. That's Eli Drinkwitz's Missouri Tigers, Mizzou in Southeastern Conference play. Some fascinating SEC games. That one kind of kicks off the day as it rolls on. Again, thank you for finding us, whether you're watching us on the Winning Cures Everything platforms, Winning Cures YouTube page, only hearing us on podcasts. Come see the show. Come check out the show and all of Gary's great content throughout the week. The handicapping, the individual games. You go over about 30, 40, 50 games. I'm gonna say you go over 50 games, and somebody can fact check me. We're so big on the fact checking with these debates. Somebody can fact check me on how many games you go over. It's a ton. Check it out on Gary's platform, but we are honed in specifically on underdogs on Three Dog Thursday. We each have one more different one coming. And again, last week we were 3-1-1. Right now, though, let's talk about another sponsor on the program, our friends at Go Sleeves. You see right on the screen, Go Sleeves and these different knee braces, ankle braces, calves, elbows. If you've got the aches and pains, Gary, I'm not saying you specifically, but the audience, if you've got the aches and pains, you want Go Sleeves. Why? As you see on the screen, if you're watching on the video, it increases blood flow, helps with the inflammation, helps your ability to recover quicker. They've got great therapeutic technology in these sleeves, and you're going to take a look at them in action, whether you run, whether you play tennis or pickleball, for bikers, weekend basketball. Gary, whatever the case is, Go Sleeves has got the sleeves for the knees, the calves, for the elbow, etc. The tennis elbow, the golf elbow can be painful. Get in the game with Go Sleeves. It's go time with Go Sleeves, and they are a proud sponsor of what we do on Three Dog Thursday and Winning Cures. And a promo code is WCE. Discounted merch, the therapeutic merch for the knees, the calves, the elbows, all the athletic wear at Go Sleeves with WCE. The promo code, utilize that. It is go time with Go Sleeves.
Hey, let me tell you something right quick. Those things are really, really useful when you have a 6-year-old that is super into WWE wrestling. I mean, it is. I am hurting all the time now.
So wait, the 6-year-old has been coming off the dresser with the flying elbow, and you've got to be ready for that with some Go Sleeves for the knees.
The bionic elbow.
The bionic elbow, like the old Dusty Rhodes. get the Go Sleeves on. But hey, I know so many people playing pickleball, so many people that golf or again jog, etc. Weekend basketball. Go Sleeves, proud sponsor here on Three Dog Thursday, and promo code WCE for Winning Cures Everything gets you a discount with Go Sleeves. One underdog each. Young man, you're up first. Are you going to one of these bizarre Big Ten matchups? I can't keep this straight anymore that UCLA's at Penn State and it's a conference game, and Wisconsin's at USC and it's a conference game. And where are you going in the Big Ten as an underdog?
I'm going to Seattle, where Michigan is going to Washington, and it's a conference game. Yes, it's a rematch of the national championship game, although the majority, I'd bet 75% of the players that were on that field last January are not going to be playing in this game. So
right.
Two entire coaching staffs almost are completely gone. So we don't have either head coach there anymore. The coordinators are gone, other than Sharon Moore has taken over as the head coach for Michigan. There are stats that would lead you to go towards Washington, right? Washington is top 3 in net success rate in the country this year. They are top 10 in yards per play margin. All of these advanced metrics that gamblers look at that lead you in one direction or the other, right? And when I look at this matchup, I understand that Michigan isn't great at throwing the football. I get it. And as a matter of fact, I've bet against Michigan quite a bit. This number before the season was Michigan minus 8.5. Now Michigan is a 2.5-point dog. Michigan's lines are still significantly better than Washington. Washington has a problem when it comes to scoring the football, right? They're like number 116 in points per scoring opportunity. That's each time they get inside the opponent's 40-yard line. They are number 116 in the country at getting points in that position. They don't do well on fourth down. They can't get the ball in the end zone. I think that Michigan is going to be able to run the ball on this defensive line because they haven't seen anything close to this. Rutgers may be the closest that Washington has played that looks kind of like Michigan, and Washington was able to run the ball on them a little bit. I think Michigan's going to be able to do what they want to, just pushing them up and down the field. I think Michigan wins the game outright. So give me the Wolverines 2.5.
They have run it well, and if you saw some of the Friday night game last week, for what it's worth, at Rutgers, they couldn't stop Washington. They couldn't stop Rutgers from running the football for a lot of that game. The equalizer is maybe the home field. And again, this used to be my Rose Bowl. Several different times this was my Rose Bowl, Michigan and Washington, and now it's a Big Ten game at Seattle here. You say, go blue, take the Wolverines and Sharon Moore's team. Which, again, can we weigh in on the onside kick that it looked like Minnesota had recovered down by 3? They called the offsides. How in 2024 is that not reviewable? I realize it's a penalty, but either he's across the line or not across the line on review. Can we not overturn that and give Minnesota a chance to tie or win the game, please?
I did find it interesting, by the way, that they just decided this week after watching that game that, oh yeah, that's a dumb rule. We're just going to go ahead and change it. Like typically these conferences
they wait
through this. Yeah, they got to go through like all these processes and everything. You got to wait till the end of the season. You
committees, right.
And instead, they just came out and said, "Yeah, this was really dumb, and we apologize, and it's changed from here on." It's like,
and I'm sure Minnesota fan feels a whole lot better now that you're changing the rule after the fact, after they didn't get the onside kick that they recovered due to a penalty. Nonetheless, Michigan and Washington makes Three Dog Thursday. We're going to go with one more underdog, and I don't believe that College Game Day, the ESPN show, which is soaring in the audience, has ever been to Berkeley, California. I believe this is a first.
They have not. The Cal
and it is Cal and Miami. Here we go again with this is an ACC game. This used to be like a bowl game that we would watch in December, right, when Cal would play Miami. Now it's a conference game. Cal already a couple of interesting data points, a win at Auburn, but then a loss at Florida State, which is what to figure about both of them. How bad is Auburn if Cal goes ahead and loses to Florida State? Still, this Mendoza kid can throw the football some. I've seen some of him. I know, look, I got in front of Miami, and they put it on USF, South Florida, in Tampa a couple of weeks ago. But I had success going back at Penn State last week with Illinois, And I'm going to go back at the Miami Hurricanes as much as anything because I'm getting too many points here. I'm getting 10.5 points. And I did watch the BetUS handicapping college football show with you and Parker and Kyle. And Kyle had the stat. What is Justin Wilcox, the coach, in the last 11 games that they're a double-digit underdog, or at least a 7.5-point underdog, I think. Last 11.
Not last 11, but just he's 22-9 overall.
But I thought in the last 11 that he was at least a 7-point underdog. He was 9-2. I think I heard Kyle say that, and maybe it's close to that. Yeah. Something like that. That's compelling. Also, what did I see? Mario Cristobal as a double-digit favorite of any kind, home or away, in his career is well below 500, like 20 and 31.
It's like 35%. I mean, it's
so he's going all the way out west for a late night game with everybody telling him how Cam Ward's a Heisman candidate. Everybody telling him they're going to be in the college football playoff. And I'm getting 10.5 points with a Cal team that's won at Auburn and can throw the football a little bit. I think they keep it close. They might win the game. I believe you said this, that you could see the argument that Cal wins. You could also see the argument that Miami rolls them, right? You could see either way in this.
So there's not a stat that I can come up with that has Cal with any kind of advantage in this game. But we all know how these late night West Coast kind of games get. But it was the same thing last week with Virginia Tech. There wasn't a single stat that you could come up with that would keep Virginia Tech in that ball game. And then weird things happen, right? If the old Cam Ward shows up, then yeah, he'll be throwing the ball to the wrong team. Cal is the one that's
can I interject? It did show up a little bit against Virginia Tech. Yeah. He threw a couple interceptions that helped them. Yes. And that's what you're saying. If that happens,
yeah, Wilcox defense can absolutely confuse quarterbacks. We have seen it time and time again. He is a defensive mastermind. So yeah, I don't hate this. I mean, my number on this, my stats model has Miami by like 30. My power rating plus stats model has Miami by almost 3 touchdowns. And yet, I still don't trust him.
All right.
Do you trust Cristobal at all? Like, I can't trust him going out there.
I didn't trust him a couple of weeks ago against USF. They wore them down. They threw it on him. They ran on him. He's got better talent than what Cal has, but it may not be about just talent here in this spot. Give me the Cal Bears here. Again, what kind of crowd will they have? Will it be embarrassing if it's not at least half full there in Northern California for this game at Berkeley after ESPN goes all the way out there? And again, ESPN is doing the bidding of we're in bed with the ACC. This is an ACC game. We have the ACC network. Let's see what it looks like late night. One of the last games of the night is Cal and Miami. Remaining couple of moments. By the way, we did mention Colorado last week at UCF. My hand is up. I thought that would be an easy UCF win. I didn't know that I went along with 13.5 points, but man, Colorado trucked them. So props to Deion Sanders' team, at least for right now, getting that win and remaining nationally relevant for now. Gary, did you have a quick thought? They looked very impressive last week, and we did talk about that briefly on Three Dog Thursday.
So we brought up that UCF's secondary was pretty much garbage. And I never imagined that we would get to the point where the game state was set up where UCF had to throw the football. I never saw that one coming. Colorado might be good. I mean, their play on both the offensive and defensive lines of scrimmage, it looks pretty good to me.
Hey, there's no might be. Travis Hunter is good, if not
Travis
great.
Hunter, absolutely.
And Shedeur Sanders has been good, if not great, throwing the ball. The question is, can they keep protecting him, and will their defense hold up against the better teams? It certainly did last week.
Yeah, it's the trenches there that I've been worried about. Like, obviously, we knew Hunter and Shedeur are fantastic. The wide receivers are great. They had no running game to speak of, and now the running game looks pretty decent too. So maybe they got this thing figured out. We'll see. They got some tough ones. Next week, they got Kansas State coming to Boulder. That one's going to be tricky. So we'll pay attention to that much.
Listen, I love your audience getting in the chat. Do you have a quick 30 seconds on Tennessee at Arkansas? Again, we both have backed Arkansas at different times so far this year. You were backing them last week. They're getting, 13.5, but Tennessee's got such an explosive offense. Quick thought on that game?
If Arkansas can stop Tennessee's running game, then I think that's going to hurt Nico's ability to, one, get the ball out quick, and two, it depends on whether or not Arkansas has to bring their safeties up, because Heupel will absolutely run go routes on you to death. I mean, he will do that to you. He was not able to do it against Oklahoma because it got to a certain point they couldn't run the ball. I don't know if Arkansas's defensive line can hold up that well, but obviously we'll see. There's a few others in the chat. Daryl has jumped in, and Tony has jumped in. So Tony jumped in on. He said my play is Duke +9. I talked about this on the BetUS show a little bit. I've got Duke favored in the game.
All right.
Georgia Tech is coming off of a bye. Duke is coming off of that massive comeback rivalry win against North Carolina last week. They won 21-20. I worry a little bit about this. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me because Georgia Tech has not been very good covering as a home favorite, especially a number this big. But man, I like their coordinators. So this one I'm staying away from. So
I got you.
Yeah, I'm not.
I see your guy Jeremiah in the chat is saying nobody has run the ball on Arkansas's D line for the most part, only on the backups, not on the starters. Yeah, will that be a compelling point about that? But they haven't played anybody like Tennessee yet. Yeah, that's another point on that one, Jeremiah.
A&M's running game very much, and aside from that, like Oklahoma State hadn't run on anybody. So I don't think.
By the way, the Dabo Swinney, I'm going to put it on everybody, revenge tour here is in Tallahassee for Florida State. Let's see, because,
what do you think about that?
They've won by big margin against everybody, and I think he's going to keep trying to score to prove the point that you don't need the transfer portal and the NIL. Let's see.
I think he's going to lay it out. I think that he won't stop scoring. By the way, they've hammered Florida State a couple of times in the past in Tallahassee. Remember the image of the one fan sitting in the loan section, the middle-aged fan reading the book while the game was going on, and they're down by 5 touchdowns? Yes. So Noles fans don't want to hear that, but let's see what Clemson and FSU looks like. All right, by means of recap, because we've got to get out of here, you've got Boston College in the ACC against Virginia getting 1.5. I took Iowa and the boatload of points at the Horseshoe against Ohio State. Again, I'm going to eschew that stat. I'm going to ignore that stat that Kirk Ferentz in his last, 6? As a double-digit dog has not done so well. I still think with that defense, they're going to keep it close enough, and Ohio State probably a look ahead to Oregon. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. We agree on Missouri, right, against Texas A&M early and the 2.5. You'll take Michigan and the 2.5 at Washington. And I love Cal in the late-night ACC game. That one getting 10.5 against Miami, against the Hurricanes. Let's see. A Cal team, again, that has a win over Auburn but has a loss to Florida State. Go figure, but they are at home. And all the attention that they're going to get this weekend from that. Did we leave anything else out here for the audience? Anything else, or are we good? I think we're good. So I don't think there was anything. Do you want – Auburn, I kind of liked them at 24.5. That thing's down to 23, 22.5 in some spots. So
how do you trust them? It's kind of like you got Michigan State at Oregon getting a boatload. 23, 24 points?
Yeah.
They couldn't score the other night against Ohio State at home. They're going to go out to Oregon and score points? I don't know. I don't see it. But we gave you the underdogs that we have for our reasons. Gary, thank you again. Thank you to the audience. We love it here on Winning Cures. Again, share the show out, hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel for all of Gary's content. He goes over favorites, totals, the whole bit all week long, great game previews, etc. on winningcureseverything.com. I come in and, as I like to say, cohabitate on Thursdays with 3 Dog Thursday on the program. Good luck with your underdogs, young man. I appreciate it as always, Gary.
Of course.
And we'll see how it goes with the underdogs. I'm off to work the NFL on this Thursday night for the Buccaneers and the Falcons. You'll know how my Friday's going, depending on how Thursday night goes for the Bucs and the Falcons. Let's see what the college football does this weekend, too. We are back again next week with another edition of 3 Dog Thursday. Bye.